All right, let's get moving here. So I'm going to work on my gesture. Now, you'll see me doing this. And what I'm doing is I'm lining my pencil up with this angle. There's our lines of action. There and there. But what I'm doing is lining up that angle and then that angle and kind of figuring out that arc so that I can recreate that arc. And you'll see that's not a bad representation of it. The spine is our center of energy, so it controls what a lot of our body does. So I've got my line of action. Now I'm finding the angle of the shoulder is there, and the chest cavity, the hips, and there's my basic structure. I'm going to go at this from the point of basic structure again. So there's my chest cavity, and I'm going to flesh that out a little bit. We're going to go back up to here to the iliac arch and the ASIS, which are where the hips round through. I wish I had a skeleton to show you. If you look here, here's your iliac arch, and this is the ASIS down in here. And that's usually, you can see that, especially on thin models, you'll see that poking out. Iliac arch, ASIS. Depending on how, I've got mine in a little tight, so we'll do that. And that kind of gives us that shape, as you can see, that bowl. So, here's the foundation of my gesture. Just really loose. Now, see this, we're tight here, and we're open here. And the shoulders are going opposite the hips. It's opening up. So it's kind of a contrapposto pose. If they were in line, it would be much more static. So I've got that. I'm going to leave a little space for the neck, and then I'm going to put in a shape. I don't like that shape at all. I'm going to do my traditional shape. There we go. That's a little better. There. And because I can't leave things alone, just going to show a little bit of the neck there. Now, I'm going to move down into the legs before I get into the arms. And my legs are coming through here. And the knee, can even take this and measure it out, 2, 3, 4. See how that ended up in our 4 head range? It worked out pretty good. 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a lot of bend in the legs, so I might not be too bad here. So we've got one leg going out there, and then one leg. This would be an awkward pose. That one's a little out forward. This would be an awkward pose for a model to actually hold. So there's our legs, and I usually show a little, you'll see me do that a lot. You'll see me do a little tiny swirl there, and that shows my where my bendable joints are. Now we have the shoulder, the head of the humerus, I believe that one is. I can never remember. Is showing through on either side, and that arm is coming through here. It's coming through a little bit longer, elbow, and then it's coming through here with the hand. And then this arm is going up. The joint's about there. It's coming across, and the hand is going over. So we'll just keep it simple like that. So that in itself is a complete gesture. It's a little stiffer than I would normally do. But it is a complete gesture. I am going to stay with the same pose so you can see the differences. This one's a little bit looser, a little freer. That leg got a little long, but I'm going to live with it. You can see that my pencil doesn't really leave the page. Even up here, I dragged it up. I'm going to go back and delineate that head a little bit. And again, this is what I'm talking about, looking all the time, all over. Your eyes are moving all the time. So I'm going to lower that hip a little bit, just so that those legs don't look so long. I'm going to widen them out a little bit. Back up to the arm. Sharpen my pencil. Hand. And just simple structures. Go in and flesh it out a bit. And that's a little bit more realistic of how I would work in the live studio. A little more scribbly, but a little freer, a little looser. And that's the kind of thing you want to do. Now, if this was a longer pose, I would go in, maybe start to delineate a little bit. Show where my shadows are. This arm catching quite a bit of shadow there. This one's more in here. Darken that up. One thing about gesture drawing, you're hard on your charcoal. So maybe I'll go in. I kind of like that spot right there, so I'm going to go in and allow that to live a little bit. A little bit of line here or there, maybe a little gentle line. If this was a person, you'd see a little bit more detail, obviously. And just a sense of where the model's looking. Those lines that we discussed with the Canon, that allows us to see the direction of the head. Always put them in. Don't worry about eyes and nose and all that other stuff when you're gesture drawing. Get the head in quick, show your position, move on. I like a line there, just to make that thing poke a little bit. You can go back later. If this is a longer pose, you can go back and put the nose in if you really want to get a little bit more detail. But generally, gestures are anywhere from 10 seconds to as long as 5 minutes. My class, when I do it in class, it's usually 10 seconds and 2 minutes, up to 2 minutes, and anywhere in between that time frame. And again, this is a little similar arc, but slightly different. It's in the same general pose. And I'm just gonna work free here. Now, you can see that this is coming through here. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. And this foot's generally in the same position as it was before. But this now is your weight-bearing leg. And I didn't talk about that in the last gesture, but you want to kind of figure out where your weight is being borne by the figure. What part is supporting most of the weight? And my hand's getting bumped off by that. I've got the hand backwards, so I'm just gonna put that more like that. So just gonna go in again. Block in some tone. It's kind of, the lighting is kind of hitting it from the front, so there's a little bit of value on both sides. A little deeper on this side. A little bit of tone hitting here, where it's a little bit concave. A little brighter here, so I'm going to show a little bit of line there. Just going to keep it simple. And some tone to show that plane of the head, and again, where my face is looking. If I wanted to make this a little bit more realistic head, I could. A little bit more realistic shape there, I could. But that's basically it. Again, another quick